Hello, comic book guys and gals, and welcome to Comic Mag Musings Live. This fella is your host, Bill Miller. We've already got 3 scoundrels in the chat. ALEXBIGBLUE, Spidercomics, not 6 but 7, and Novamadd 1970 minus this many. What's up, guys? Good to see you. Oh boy. There it goes. The chat just went downhill quick, fast, and guess what? In a hurry. So what's going on, Jackson? Good to see you, sir. We're opening up an AOK that feels like it's filled with gold bullion from the Kentucky crew, Alex, Nick, and Brandon. We will do an unboxing after that, and then we will do part 2 of going over the Gerber photojournal guide to Golden Age comics. So that is the agenda for today. Let's go ahead and get this party started. Again, this is from Spidercomics 7, Novamadd 1966, and ALEXBIGBLUE. And AOK, thank you fellows so much. I appreciate it. I think Jackson is referring to my latest desert unboxing that might have taken 1, perhaps 1.5 minutes longer than usual. So we've got our box cutter, trusty, but made for right-handers. Oh, that is pretty cool. Check that out. Right there on the top. Got a little Spidey. Very neat. And a sticker that says, "I belong, the Mary Marble Marching Society." So that's pretty neat, right? And then, wow. Oops. Tore a little bit of the text. All right. Very cool. So I need to guess which stacks of books came from either exclusively from Nick or from all 3 of these rascals, as they are 2 separate ones. Oh, this is cool. Some bookmarks as well, which are always good, right? Never have too many of those. All right. And of course, it didn't specifically say it, but I think Brandon meant to say that if I ever visit Kentucky, I've got a free haircut on him. All right. Sean, how are you, sir? Thanks for stopping by. Good to see you. I try to get this going. All right. And we've used painter's tape, which is always appreciated. So The gig is for the larger stack. That's the one that is from all of them. And I need to proffer a guess as to which books came from whom. I think I can do that. First, this one. Very cool. We've got Fantastic Four, number 205. So these are the ones that are from Nick by himself. He asked the others if they wanted to put some toward this one, and they both gave him the middle finger. And so the hell with you, do it all by yourself. So he did. And then they had second thoughts about it and said, you know what, we'll contribute some books to a separate one, but we don't want anything to do with your books that you put in the first one. A lot of infighting there. I hated to see it. We've got Beta Ray Bill, the Green of Eden. That's pretty cool. I've never seen this. It's a one-shot with Beta Ray, yours truly, on the cover. Very cool. Oh, look at this fella. Got Ghost Rider number 28, Rise of the Midnight Suns. Very cool. Indeed they did, Nick. Those two could never hold their tongues. Loose lips sink ships. Ghost Rider number 75. Very cool. And Metarog and I, in maybe a month or so, we're going to do a two-parted retrospective on the original, for the most part, the Bronze series of Ghost Rider. So Marvel Spotlight through his own title all the way to number 81. We'll do the first part on his channel, the second part on my channel. The Untold Legend of Captain Marvel, number 1 of 3. That's pretty cool. I've never seen that one either. We've got DC Nation, number 0. Very cool Joker on the cover. Nice. Creatures on the Loose, featuring The Coming of King Cole. How cool is that? I think Jackson's. Wait a minute. Did I hand out any blue wrenches for rascals like this? I think he means the first part being on Metarog's channel. I think they start off by giving him 5 of them, Brandon. 5 spotlights. Swords of Sorrow. Hubba, Hubba, and Hubba. Very cool. That's a neat. Warlord number 2. Haven't seen this one. A later title or a later run of Warlord. That's pretty cool. I think he's on to you guys. It is a nice sketch cover, absolutely. We've got Blue Beetle, number 1. Very cool character. One of Grayman's favorites, I think. Shadowland, Daughters of the Shadow, number 3. A big sword on there. And Shadowland Power Man, number 3 of 4. So very cool. All right. Now, it depends if these are in order or not, I think. So could it be that they're all mixed together, like Alice contributed one that's next to one that Nick contributed that's next to one that Brandon contributed? Or are they in like stacks of 10? I think that's the key. We've long been aware of your Shine gig of printing the comics. That's a new one. You guys are diversifying. I like to see that. Oh, very cool. We've got the Phantom, number 73. And this is the UK edition for 10 pence. Isn't that what those weirdos say? They say pence. And pounds and quid and all these weird things. So that is neat. Very cool. Phantom is a great pulp character. This is, all right, so this one, so if it's all, oh, so they're all mixed in there? All right, I'm going to go with Brandon on that one. Betty and Veronica. I do every video, Jackson. Yes, it is pence. That's one of their little ones. One of their less than a pound ones. Betty and Veronica, number 1. Very cool. I'm going to say, it's tough. I'm going to say this one is Nick. Betty and Veronica, number 1. Secret Origins, number 9. Featuring Swamp Thing. I'm going to call this a Nick one as well. Well, that could be Brandon. It's tough. Darkhawk, number 9. Side by side with the Punisher. Very cool. This looks like an Alex book. But Alex and Nick's tastes are very similar. So it makes it a challenge. Secret Empire, number 1. Yes, sure. The chat can guess too. Of course, that's a good idea. Secret Empire, number 1. I'm going to call this Brandon. I'll say this one Brandon. Ah, Swamp Thing was Brandon. Rats. J2, number 1. I know that this is either Nick or Alex. I'm going to go with Nick on this one. Aha, I was right on the Darkhawk. No, you won't, because one of yours already showed up. No, I didn't say that. Yeah, I'm going with, it's either Alex or Nick. I'm going with Nick on that one. Starman number 12. Actually, this is first special issue, number 12, featuring Starman. This is going to be Nick or Brandon. I'm going to say Brandon on this one. He has a hankering for the older stuff. Nick does too, but I'd say on that sliding scale, Nick's more toward the 90s stuff. Brandon's more toward the 70s stuff. Oh, this one's boss. Man Bat number 1. My favorite Batman villain, Man Bat. I'm going to say this one's Nick. Come on, chat. Help me out. It's either Spidercomics 7, ALEXBIGBLUE, or Novamadd 1966. Or as Jambo would say, 1966. Got Convergence number 4. I'm going to say, this is Nick or Alex. I'm going to say Alex. Convergence number 4. Weapon H number 1. I'm going with, it's Nick or Alex. I got a 66% chance, don't I? Whenever I say that. I'm going to go with Alex in this. Darkhawk number 16. This is an automatic Alex. Haha, Weapon H was from Novamadd. The 33% I didn't guess. What's going on, James? Good to see you, sir. Space War number 34. Again, a UK variant for 12 pence. Not Mike Pence, but that's actually one of their wacky monetary terms. It's like a coin, but it's for old beans. So that is cool. Very cool. I'm going with Brandon on Space War. Could be Nick. I'm going to go with Brandon on that. Send them my way, James, would you? Chicken fajitas are all right with me. 2001: A Space Odyssey, number 4. That's tough to say. I'm going to say Brandon. Brandon on that one. Look out. Whoa. Look at the detail on that equipment. Just incredible, isn't it? This is a version cover, so let's see what it be. Dynamite. This is Red Sonja Age of Chaos, number 3. Very cool. That is fantastic. I like that one. I'm going to say that's tough. I'm going to call that Nick. So you know how Nick's always picking up those types. Nick and Bub, they're neck and neck on that. Daredevil number 264. You can hear the ice cream truck outside. Baby Boom. Baby Go Boom, featuring the Deadly Owl. Pretty cool, right? Daredevil, I'm going to say that's Nick. Although it could be Brandon. And it could be Alex, right? Well, I know the Peckerwood is already in the chat. So we just need that woodpecker knocking on the side of the house. Night Raven, House of Cards. Pretty cool. Feels like a Brandon thing that he would send. But it could be Alex. That's tough. I'm going to go Alex on that. It'll probably happen that I'll get every single one of them wrong. Blood Strike number 1. This is Blood Brothers Prelude. That's pretty cool. And this is definitely an Alex or Nick. I'm going to go Alex on this one. True. Oh, wow. Very cool. That was from Flutterby 989. She just happens to be on friendly terms with Novamadd 1966. So thank you, Flutterby. I appreciate that. That is a great looking one. We've got Guardians of the Galaxy number 18. I'm going to say that's Nick. Darkhawk number 26. Very cool. I'm saying that that's Alex. Ah. All right. Amazing Adventures number 10. Super cool. Forget them, Black Bolt. They're dead. From now on, you walk with Magneto. The Inhumans' Last Stand. How cool is that? It's either Brandon or Nick. I'm going to say Nicholas on this one. Darkhawk number 10. A nice cover. Very dark. This one is Alex, I'm going to say, but I don't know. He sent one doesn't mean he sent them all. Nick is safely driving while listening. We've got Captain America number 331. This one, Nick. Could be Alex, but I'm going to say Nick. Oh, very cool. Superboy number 455. Your lead suit can't save you, Superboy. Your kryptonite hometown will kill you anyway. Ha, ha, and guess what? Ha. Says Lex Luthor. I'm going to say this is Brandon. He's trying to clue me in, but I'm a little bit slow. Champions number 15. Very cool. I'm going to say this is from Alex. Worlds Collide. Part 6. or chase. What the number 5? This could be from any of those 3 potty mouths. This is the precursor to WTF, I think. But I'm going to say this is Alex, because he's got the pottiest of all 3 potty mouths. We've got Eclipso number 5. Super cool. This can't be happening. I'm going to say Alex. Could be Nick. Maverick number 1. How cool is that? I'm going to say Alex again is my guess, although it could be Nick. Cyberforce number 1. This is definitely a Nick or Alex book. It's not that Brandon doesn't like the 90s books. He just doesn't like them nearly as much, I think. I'm going to say Nick. I don't think Brandon could handle not wanting to snip that off every time you looked at the cover. All right, it's in his DNA. The Twilight Zone. Very cool. A gold key comic. I'd have to open it up to see the number. I'm going with Brandon on this one. Doesn't that guy in the back look a little bit like a young, certain ex-president? And doesn't that guy in the foreground from afar look almost like Bruce Lee? A little bit? Am I off on that? All right, I'm going to say Brandon on this one. Secret Empire number 1. How cool is that? Super neat looking. And I think that this is a Nick book right here. All right, and this is the final one in the AOK, the Active Kindness. Thank you so much, fellas. I've got 2 big stacks of books here that I certainly don't deserve, but I very much appreciate. That is wonderful. And I think according to the tally I've been keeping, I got 98% of my guesses correct. That's amazing. I don't know how I did that. That is incredible. But thank you so much for the AOK, the Active Kindness, fellas. You didn't have to. It's very much appreciated. And these are for Mini Musings, but I will either charge him for them or I will give them to him for his birthday. Ain't nothing free in life. Ass, cash, or grass, right? Nobody rides for free. You're really on that doomsday thing, aren't you, Dr. What? I think you've been in some other chats talking about doomsday clock sucks. I've heard that a lot, Alex. That is a great AOK. Those guys are too good to me. The coolest guys in Kentucky that I know of. There are a couple other bums in Kentucky, but we won't talk about them. All right, so next, we're going to open this little gem. I know what this is. Sometimes I don't, but I do know what this one is. But it will be a surprise for you guys. So let's see what we got. Ah, okay. Secret Empire, I know I guessed Nick. Champions, I know I guessed Darkhawk with you. Bloodstrike, I think I guessed Nick. So I might have guessed 92% correct. All right, let's get over here. Who wants to talk about Doomsday Clock? All right. There we go. All right. I haven't looked at it. What's going on, Mars Comics? Good to see you, sir. Thanks for stopping in. And here we go. Oh, can't see it when you put that on the front. See, now I got to open this thing up, which I really didn't want. Because you know how I hate taking forever to do an unboxing. Goes against my nature, it does. Jackson really loves my unboxings because they get straight to it. All right, there we are. Piracy, number 4. So this is a cool, in my opinion, cool EC New Direction comic book. So the New Direction line was established when the Comics Code Authority was created. And so you'll say, but Bill, there is no Comics Code Authority stamp on that book. That's true. This is the last issue of this title that doesn't have the Comics Code Authority. Issue number 5 does have it. But this line was created in anticipation of the Comics Code Authority, along with extra, Psychoanalysis, MD, Aces High, Valor. Those are all New Direction titles that didn't have any of the fight of the horror or the war or the crime or the science fiction comics that they had. So they didn't last terribly long. I think this might have ran 5, 6 issues. So Piracy number 4. Very, very cool. At least I think it's very, very cool. This is probably between a 5.0 and a 6.0. I'd say it's in that range. So Piracy, number 4. All right. So again, thank you to my Kentucky brothers, Brandon, Nick, and Alex. Novamadd 1966, Spidercomics 7, ALEXBIGBLUE. Their channel links are in the chat. I believe everyone here has subbed them up, but if you're watching on the rewind and you haven't done so, please take a minute to check out their content. I believe that will snag you, capture you, and make you want to sub them up. So this will be part number 2 of our Golden Age discussion centering around the photojournal guide to comic books. Produced by Gerber, what is it, Steve and his wife. No, Ernst Gerber and Mary Gerber. So this is it, suitable for Golden Age reference and home defense. Man, this thing is got to be like 7 to 10 pounds. I think that Flutterby could use this as a husband adjuster if need be. So keep that in mind, Brandon, if you ever determine that you're going to get one of these. It can be an asset, and it can also be a liability if you go mouthing off to the wrong person. Absolutely. Yes. Class is in session. That's true. So last time I showed you A through J. This is K through Z. So there are 2 volumes for the Gerber Photojournal Guide to Comic Books. And it says to comic books. It's really just Golden Age. There are a few runs that they'll extend into Silver Age, but that's pretty rare. Samuel David, how are you? Good to see you, sir. Thanks for stopping in. As with the last one, he starts out with, and these are from, I think, the last one was 89. Let's see, when was this one published? 1990. Okay, so this one was published 90. So 31 years ago, but still super relevant. That's what's great about them. And I found these from, where did I say I found them from? That online bookstore. Not Amazon. Do they even sell books on Amazon anymore? What was that? They ultimately came from like a Half Price Books. Abe. I think Abe Books. Yeah. That's where they came from initially. But he's got some really good articles on collecting in general, buying and selling comic books. He's got a lot of experience, he being the author, decades of buying and selling comic books, running auction houses, inventing Mylar for storage, becoming getting involved in paper restoration, particularly for comic books. And he does have some historical articles on the impact of comic books. Yeah, he dives pretty deep into restoration in this volume, which is pretty fascinating. You know, it's a bad word for so many people, but I think as long as you know that it's restored, I think that it's a little bit different. And if there's such a rare book and you want to try to save it, you know, short of conservation, I think buying a restored book, you could have the restoration undone if it was done properly in the first place, meaning everything that professional restorers do can generally be backed out or undone. So it's definitely worth a read. But this is formatted the same way as the last one. They're nice cover shots. So he went around the country for years to big collectors, taking pictures of their comic book covers. So he would have a visual reference guide to all of these Golden Age books before perhaps some of them completely disappeared. In some cases, if he found a better copy, he would replace the previous picture with this new picture that was of a better or a cleaner copy. Yeah, I heard about that, right? It's really faded out, I think. Isn't that it? I need to watch that. I think if he figures out how to do that without being restored, that's the key, right? Then he'll be like a modern day alchemist. He's turning lead into gold, if that's the case. But a lot of the metadata, you know, about the comic books is valuable too. When it was published, most of them are in sequence. If he knows it, he'll put the cover artist, the interior artist. If there are any numbering anomalies, those will be noted either somewhere on the page or in many cases at the bottom of the pages. You'll see that. So really cool. I think one of the interesting things to see is the progression of certain titles as time goes on and taste in comic books changes. You'll see something go from superhero into horror. You know, you'll see it go from like Western to superhero to horror to romance. It's incredible. The same title over the years as the taste of the comic book buying public change, some of the titles try to change with them. But here are some examples of superhero ones, right? So Marvel Mystery Comics. And you can just see a lot of those beautiful covers. Many of them Schomburg covers, right? Here's another example of the data about them being put on the right margin. Mr. Mystery, a couple famous pre-code horror covers right there, right? The eye injury one and the one with where he's buried up to the neck. Those are pretty famous or infamous, however you want to look at it. Mystic number 18. It's a big pre-code horror book to collect. Superior Hero Reviews, how are you? Good to see you. So you can collect anything, and there's just about anything from this era to collect. This one would be, Django would be all over that, right? The Jungle Comics, that would be his wheelhouse. So as I said before, if you want to dip your toe into Golden Age books, just know that for the most part, for an equivalent grade, they're definitely more expensive, right? And in general, they're lower condition, lower grade. And so if you're cool with those, and it's a little bit of a dive, I'd say a wading, if you want to get in the wading pool, I would encourage you to get this and the first volume. He also made a Marvel specific one. I think that gets more into the Silver Age and stuff. I don't have those. And he never made the equivalent for DC. But I would say this is a good starting point, because if you're not certain how to focus your, how to organize your collecting, if you're not entirely positive on what aspects you want to get into, before you just start throwing around money willy-nilly at different things without knowing what you truly would like or what would be feasible for you to start collecting, I think it's good to start with something like this, where you can take a look at the covers, find out what appeals to you, because most Golden Age purchases are cover buys. They're not really bought for stories. Most of them aren't character driven. Most of them are cover buys. And so I think that's a good place to start. And you may say, oh, wow, I really like the Jungle Comics. Maybe I'll focus on, there's a lot of them, right? Or you might be like Ranger Sly and say, I want to go after Westerns. There are so many Golden Age collectors that are very specific. Some like electric chair covers, sharks on the covers, right? There's so many passionate collectors that like very specific things on there. Atomic explosion covers, skeletons on the covers, artist driven, right? L.B. Cole or Matt Baker or Basil Wolford, right? Russ Heath, he did some really good Golden Age work too before he went on to his Silver Age work. So all things to kind of take into consideration, but I would definitely dip my toe in first and say, hey, maybe I'll try this little tiny subgenre of it and see how that treats me before committing any strong resources toward it. Well, yeah, DS for Golden Age war books, probably even more so though for PCH, right? That's his first love, is the pre-code horror. Speaking of, right, my thing is pre-code horror and EC. So there's some shock suspense. Goes onto this page here. Shock suspense stories. This one would be Right Up Ranger Slides, Alley. All those Tex Morgan, Tex Ritter covers. Photo covers are definitely the most reasonably priced. They're just not as sought after, obviously, as illustrative covers. We got the other side of the thing. This is a very, that one right there, where he's gouging his eyes out. That's a very expensive and popular pre-code horror book. As is number 15 down here. That giant worm. Don't know why, but that one's popular and costly too. What do we got here? Yes, Golden Age war covers are great. You were going to say that, but you decided not to, Brandon? I can understand. Probably go to his head anyways. I think he's from Kentucky. So let's not give him anything. He's got to earn it. Doesn't he ever? He votes for Jambo by proxy. Hey, it's my fault for not establishing blue wrenches at the beginning of this, right? All right. One more I'll show. These are things that I would be interested in, right? Just don't quite have the money. We got Weird Mysteries 4 and 5. Both of those are big pre-code horror books. And of course, we got Weird Science down there, you see. And I think it is Weird Science Fantasy at the bottom. So I'd be remiss if we didn't turn the page to see the last issue in that series, that beautiful Frazetta artwork. Now, Brandon mentioned war books, so let me see if I can show you some of those. And it tells you who publishes it, which is pretty cool too, usually at the top. This is a Marvel book, War Action. They don't publish every single cover, but they will publish most of them. And we've got Marvel War Adventures on the next page. War Combat, War Battles by Harvey. You know, just take war, right? You've got flamethrower collectors, you know, tanks, planes, some that focus on Navy, aircraft carrier. There's so many things to collect. Bayonet. That I think that's because Golden Age is so big that it can be overwhelming if you look at it from the macro or the 50,000 foot level. But if you drill down and say, hey, let me go ahead and try to pick up just these types of issues or just this subsection of this particular title, then that makes it more manageable and more fun, right? And it's obtainable, and so I think that motivates you, and you can complete a collection or a task and then move on to another one. Of course, what Brandon's first love are those wartime romances. A lot of romance books, right? From the Golden Age. They sold really well. And if you think you're going to get them cheap, you're not. Because a lot of people are realizing there was some pretty incredible art in those books too. And their price has been going up pretty well. Especially anything associated with Matt Baker, right? Weird Chills #2. That's a pretty famous pre-code horror eye injury issue. Ahoy, Captain. Good to see you, sir. More. We've got War Heroes and War Reports. All right, where are we at? There we go. War Heroes, War Report, War Stories. So believe me, there's definitely no shortage of war books if that's like what you wanted to move into. And they've been heating up, but they're still affordable compared to some other genres in the Golden Age. Western's probably the most affordable, but they're going up too. And I suspect in 4 or 5 years, they won't be considered quite so affordable. So that's it. That is our look into K through Z, Volume 2 of the Gerber Photojournal Guide to Comic Books. Now, I think I got each of these because I bought them separately. So if I average them together, about 18 bucks a piece, including shipping, which I think is a pretty good price, but you may be able to find them better. You shouldn't have to pay a lot for them, though. Just look around because they're out there, plenty of them sold. What's going on, Kenny? Good to see you, sir. Thanks for stopping in, but we're just wrapping up. We just went over volume number two of the Gerber Photojournal Guide to Golden Age Comic Books. I got a massive stack of AOK comics from Spidercomics 7, ALEXBIGBLUE, and Novamadd 19 and 66. Thank you again, fellas. And we did one unboxing, and that was to kind of go along with the theme of this chat. That was Piracy #4, the last pre-code New Direction book from this particular title from EC. So Piracy #4, I'd say 5.0 to a 6.0. And that will do it for me. I'm all talked out. Jackson said, no, please stay on longer. You're a hero of mine. I realize that. But all good things, sir, must come to an end. Thank you guys for joining me. Look for me tomorrow on No Faces Chat on Bub's channel, Bub's Comics. There you go. True enough. And remember, keep it comics. I'm kidding. We're taking over the world one comic book at a time.